Hi there, thanks for joining me on my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Elham Raker, parent coach and pediatrician, and today I wanted to talk to you about resilience. I feel like resilience has come up a lot in the past 2 years with our pandemic, and especially in relation to kids. We've heard kids are resilient often, and although that may be true, I don't think it's fair to our kids or to anyone to just make it a blanket statement. I do think that kids can be resilient, and I think we can help them as their adults and caregivers and parents and teachers to get there, to be able to withstand hardships and get through it, which really is what resilience is about, is the ability to overcome one or series of hardships without significant effects. So resilience is not something that's just gonna come to you. It's not something that you're born with. So saying all kids are resilient isn't really a fair statement. And saying that, oh, this person is resilient because of the way they are or because of, they were born with it, isn't true either. So it really is something we can develop and that we should develop, not only for our kids, but for ourselves as well. And resilience really is the most important factor, is having a consistent and reliable caregiver. So that is the number one thing that should be in place. And hopefully, if you're watching this, then you have that with your child and your child has that trusted person. It doesn't always have to be a parent or an exact caregiver. It could be just someone in their lives that is providing that support. And the other things that are important in resilience that we want to think about, that we can grow, is building a sense of self-efficacy and perceived control. So, for example, you can build this in children with giving them tasks to do that they can accomplish. So that's why it's so important for kids to dress themselves, to brush their teeth, to maybe make something for themselves to eat, to do their assignments on their own, all these little things. And the point is not to just get them to do it. A lot of these things may be challenging, some of them may not be, but the idea is to have these little challenges along the way and let them know that they can do it. And we just have to be there in support. Now, if they need help, certainly offer them help, right? They may not be ready to tie their shoes on their own. That's okay. But if they're just struggling but aren't asking for help, then let them struggle through it. And once they're done, you can then praise their effort, not so much their accomplishment, right? Because we don't want to focus on the end result, but praise the effort, the time that they took, their patience, their perseverance to get them to that point, whether it's tying their shoe or finishing their homework or, whatever it may be the situation. So we want to provide these opportunities for them in little doses where it's not overwhelming, where it's not so many things that they have to do, and always be there to provide help if needed, so they don't feel like they're out on an island by themselves without help. Again, that goes back to having that supportive relationship and that supportive person in your life when needed. The other thing I think is really important is us as their parent, their caregiver, to show when we're having a hard time with something and to talk about it and to talk through it. I think as kids watching us, they think that we don't make any mistakes. They haven't seen us master the things that we've mastered. We're just already doing it by the time they're born. So show them those things. Like, you know, I talk about how driving was so hard for me and how now it's automatic because I've done it so much. But in the beginning, and this is true, I remember thinking, how am I ever going to learn this? How am I ever going to drive? It's not possible. I could not understand how so many people were able to drive because it seemed so hard. So I talk about that with my kids, and I also talk about things that are new for me. I learned to ride a bike as an adult, so they got to see me through that. And you know, I'll say things like, oh, my son's putting something in the oven or taking something out. I'm like, oh, make sure you used oven mitts. He's like, duh, Mom, like, why would you even say that to me? And I say, well, because I burned myself before accidentally. He'll look at me like, you did? I'm like, yeah, I have. Sometimes, you know, you're forgetful or you do things without thinking about it. So I talk about those mistakes. I talk about those things and let them know that, yeah, you know, I've done it too. And certainly anytime you're learning something new, let them get involved with you. Let them see you learning that, because so much of it is that getting from the A to B, getting from the unknowing to the unknowing. It's that in-between part that's so important, that we want them to know that, yeah, it's okay to struggle. Yeah, it's okay to fail and get up and just keep going. It's that the getting up part that's important, not the falling down part. The other thing that's important is having a community. So whether it's faith-based or you know, other things that are important to you, or a neighborhood or something where the children feel like they have other people supporting them and are behind them. You know, the whole saying, if it takes a village, really has some significant importance in that it's having that supportive community behind you, knowing that it's not just, you know, your parents that are going to be there. And as parents, it's important too, knowing that we have a community and we have people supporting us with similar values and similar ideas. So it's not just us kind of incorporating this into our kids. So those are kind of the things that I wanted to go over to talk about with resilience, and just, you know, really emphasize that we can't just throw our kids out into the middle of the pool and say, okay, you're going to be resilient and you're going to, you know, you're not going to sink, you're going to swim. It doesn't really work that way. None of us are going to thrive in that situation. Our stress hormones are going to be going like crazy, and that's not an conducive environment for learning or growing. So you really just want to stretch them out a little bit, right? Like, just get out of your comfort zone a little bit at a time until they feel comfortable enough, and going through little micro doses of stress so that they know that they can deal with it. So for me personally, I'll share a story with you guys, and some of you, if you follow me on social media, you may know this, but my daughter has been going through a really stressful time medically. She's been going through some chronic conditions, chronic headaches, and you know, if I just said kids are resilient, then I wouldn't do anything else, right? I would just say, hey, she'll come out of this, she'll be fine. But the truth is, this is a major adverse event, which is something else we can talk about, the adverse childhood events. She was hospitalized, she's been, you know, missing out on a lot of her life, missing out on school, seeing friends. So all those things are going to have long-term effects. So I am, you know, being, you know, my husband and I are there for her. We are contacting her school and making sure that the stress of the schoolwork is not adding to her pain or the things that she's feeling, and making sure that they know, you know, where she's at. We contacted her friends, her sports friends and teams, and they reached out, and, you know, people sent letters and gifts and things, and that made her feel supported. We reached out to her community and just let them know what was going on. And everyone has been helpful and gracious and making sure that she knows she's supported. And we've also reached out for therapy to make sure that she has someone to talk to other than us and really get her feelings out without any judgment, without any feelings of any negativity. And we've always made sure that the kids know that talking to someone is a wonderful thing and therapy is an amazing thing, and we support it. So that's just kind of a real life example of what's going on in my life and in my world and how I'm doing it. So I hope that you find that helpful. Leave any comments below if you had gone through something and what, something that was helpful for you at the time to help you get through it, or things that your kids are going through and how you're helping them get through it. It's been a really tough couple years for all of us, and I think our kids in particular. So I just wanted to touch base and kind of let people know, it is hard, it is something we're all going through, but we can get through it. All right, thank you.